Here this week's Here and Now with Steve Struggle, giving us an insight into the American scene. So what's happening in this supposedly great United States of America now?
Well, I want to say greetings to all the viewers of our program. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you'll please hit the like button and share with your friends and allies so you can get more people watching the program and participating in conversations in the descriptions below. Well, the United States this week, a lot of weird things are always going on here. I wanted to talk about a horrific murder that occurred a week ago in Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida is a former Confederate state. It's in the southeast corner of the country, shaped like a banana. As far as it is entirely a peninsula, and Jacksonville itself is in the what they call the panhandle of the state, the northern part of the state. Historically, very, very racist, but they have a lot of military bases there, a lot of businesses there that draw people from different parts of the state, from Alabama, from Georgia, from South Carolina, and from southern and central Florida, go there to live and work. So this city has had a history of a civil rights movement led by teenagers in the 1960s. Some of the research I did over the last few days exposed to me that on one campaign in the early 60s to integrate lunch counters, somewhat similar to what happened in Woolworth's lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina, students went to a particular drugstore. And in those days, the drugstores would have a place to eat. So it was a combination of a diner and a store. That doesn't really exist too much anymore. So what they would do is the whites would be allowed to sit at the diner on the main part of the store, and blacks were required to go to the back of the store to a separate diner. And part of this civil rights movement of the 60s was the movement to eliminate this disparate treatment toward Black Americans. So people would go to the white section of the diner, sit down and ask for to be served. And they would be refused service. And then they would not get up for hours. So that's what constituted the sit-in. Okay. So Jacksonville was a center of the sit-ins in Florida. This is not known too much because most of the attention on sit-ins has been either in Greensboro or in states like Alabama or Mississippi. Okay, so one Sunday, I think it was in 1964, 65, the white racists mobilized against these sit-ins at the diners. They got these weapons called axe handles. So all axes have a handle. The axe is a wedge, is the blade, and it is fused to a handle made of wood. So in the South, it's not unusual still today to see white people, not Black people, not Latin people, not Asian people, but white people with axe handles in their pickup trucks. They put it on a rack behind the driver. They're also allowed to put guns back in their car. As long as the gun is seen, it's legal. So it is a scene of intimidation and a threat. So what they did on this, I think it was a Sunday or Saturday, the white racists assembled outside the downtown area and formed a wedge in the city. And they had axe handles to beat the Black youth and the black community who were there demonstrating. So this is the viciousness of Jacksonville's history. Okay, so last Saturday, this racist went to, he got his gun, his AR-15, and his Glock, loaded up, and went to the Black University. There's a small Black private school, college in Jacksonville, and he tried to gain entry, but the security guards, I assume that they have, what do you want as a private school? Kind of a close, kind of a security office before he could enter. They refused him entry. So he had planned to go to a black college and wipe out the black students. So he was stopped. He had swastikas written on his pistol and on his AR-15.
Mm-hmm.
So then he drove over to a Dollar General. Now, come to find out, he worked for Dollar. This man worked for Dollar General. He was an employee of a Dollar General store.
Mm-hmm.
So he went to the store and began to shoot, wound, and kill people, all of them black.
Mm-hmm.
This is very similar to a white youth that went to Walmart in Texas near the border about 3 or 4 years ago. Same thing. You go to a store armed with a weapon to shoot people of color.
Mm-hmm.
Or the white man that 2 years ago went to Buffalo, a grocery store in a black neighborhood, with the purpose of killing black people.
Mm-hmm.
Youth under 20 years old who are support under 25, who are fueled by racist ideology with a violent edge toward blacks. This appears on the internet frequently. It's not hard to find this nonsense on the internet. And they go there with the intention of murdering black people. And that's what he did. Mm-hmm. And then, as usual, instead of fighting out with the police, some of them will take the arrest, and some will just commit suicide at the sign of the murder. And that's what this man did. Mm-hmm. So I just want people to know that when you think everything's okay with the United States and that there's integration and peace, no. At any time, African Americans, Mexican Americans can be murdered by white racists. Mm-hmm. They have, because of the proliferation of guns, mm-hmm. gun proliferation and racist ideology mm-hmm. allows us to continue. Mm-hmm. And all the capitalists say, "Oh, we mourn for your family. You have our thoughts and prayers." Yeah, people are dead. Mm-hmm. The thoughts and prayers don't help. Mm-hmm. So that's what I wanted to report on that with you, Abraham.
This is what I've heard described as a slow civil war in the United States. And mainly these mass shootings are done by white supremacists. I think there's a study done on it to that effect as well. I think Jason Unruhe has done some research in that matter.
Good.
And it's a matter of preparing ourselves for self-defense, just like the Jewish Bund did against, the pogromists, in Russia and in Poland. You've got to have any cultural communal center, any event, has to have its own security and has to be
most definitely. Like but now we're even seeing, to me, what we're seeing is with or without permits to carry concealed weapons, people just have to be armed.
Yeah.
For personal protection, not for aggression, but for self-defense.
Yeah.
And I know this is a thin line we want to be careful of crossing, not be a thin line that come too close to the red, too close to the third rail, as they say in front of the subway. Mm-hmm. But in these situations, let me give you an example. When the situation went down let's go back to this one. Let's start with this one. Were it not for the security guards, who are usually not on our side when it comes to, grocery stores and protecting private property and that nonsense. Mm. Were it not for the security guards at the black private school, he would have come in and committed mass murder right there.
Yeah.
You see what he had planned it. That's where he went first. Yeah. Same thing happened in Buffalo about 2 years ago. The security guard opened fire on the gunman, but he did not have a bulletproof vest, so he was killed. Mm. Okay, so again, that what you're talking about, there was some level of self-defense present.
Mm-hmm. That's not enough.
At the black college and at the grocery store, okay? And usually security guards are there to protect the property of the employer. On the latter being the store and its food and its products, on the former being the students. Mm-hmm. And they turned they turned into their opposite, mm-hmm. and they became protectors of the black community. So, just sometimes things can switch rather quickly. Mm-hmm. And I think that in these instances, mm-hmm. if people are armed and know how to use arms properly,
Yeah.
they could possibly defend themselves. That's all I'm saying.
I can understand that would be necessary now, because, security guards at any sort of commercial establishment are there, one, to prevent theft and to protect the property, and
Right.
that's it. If, a shooter comes along, that security guard is going to run away, because it's not his job. So, you got to be prepared to defend yourself. Yeah. I've got to be prepared to defend myself, like even physically, I've been attacked a couple of times this year. It's, the time is happening now, where if you out front any sort of conventional wisdom, of somebody, like who doesn't want to recognize your rights, they're going to become violent. They turn violent,
Right.
Because they cannot accept it. They just cannot accept, that there would be, like an equivalent right to be held, by a black man or a Jewish man, like they just don't understand it. It's just impossible for them to comprehend. And so they become violent. It's like it's kind of a psychotic, behavior that's emerging.
Yes, psychotic behavior.
Yeah.
But allow me to mention one more thing about security guards.
Yeah.
In San Francisco, California, I would say about 6 months ago, a gentleman named Bunko Brown was a transsexual male living on the streets of San Francisco. He went to a Walmart in San Francisco, and he went to the shoplift. He went to the shoplift.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The security guard confronted Bunko Brown in the store about the shoplifting, and Bunko Brown surrendered what he had stolen, what he was attempting to steal. Okay. Yeah. But some kind of scuffle broke out. Security guard went outside the store, shot Bunko Brown in the back outside the store. He had left the store.
Weird.
So the DA would not prosecute the security guard. So we had, we had this, this thing of this vacillating nature of these security guards. He had the reason that, look, you got the merchandise, it's over.
Yeah.
Let the guy leave. Yeah. But he's supposed to get bad and get tough. So Bunko Brown is dead. He had no gun, he had no knife, he had no club, he had nothing.
And Bunko Brown guard probably claimed self-defense in any case.
I'm sure he could say, I'm not sure what he claimed, but the DA did not prosecute. The DA just, whatever he claimed, Bunko Brown was leaving the store. He had left the store. He was outside the store.
It's like the police who judge, whether or not the police turn themselves into judges, and they decide, who's going to be, convicted or not. It's like an abrogation of power. The police have assumed this power, which is not their right.
Right, exactly.
It's, like they've turned, the whole judicial system upside down, because they're supposed to be, at the bottom, and they place themselves at the top, and they consider themselves to be the executioner as well, Wow. Okay. Well,
so that's my report from the United States, and from North America. There's a whole lot more going on, but I want to share that tragic story with people, our listeners and our viewers, to know that when you want to immigrate here, if you want to come here and live, if you think it's the best place in the world, please think again. Please think again. I'm not saying don't come. But if you think you're going to live here in peace and quiet, make all this money, and live in a real nice place, and have, milk and honey and cheese, please think again, because I'll give you examples of no fewer than 15 people who've been killed by racist cops or security guards. The racist cops, security guards, or white racists, white men with guns who hate Black people and want to kill us simply because we're Black. That's it.
Yeah.
Please think again, because that's what you're going to see here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Refugee migrants, would do much better, if they just organized themselves and made a revolution in their home countries. Well, the matter right there and then.
Let me give you an example of that, brother. There's a young man from Nicaragua. He was living in the San Fernando Valley, a suburb of LA. Living on the margins. He had immigrated from Nicaragua. Was doing some, just whatever work he could find from the Nicaraguan community. People people come to the country, they find the community they came from, they start asking for work. You know how that goes, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So he found a job. One day, the store owner wanted to cover up some tagging from a local gang. Well, guess what? He was covering the tagging. The gang saw him covering up, and they murdered him on the spot. He's dead.
Yeah.
Just for doing what his employer wanted him to do.
Mm-hmm.
He would hurt nobody. He didn't mess with nobody. He was just doing a job. He's dead. Of course, there are no suspects. No one ever was brought to the game. So this is an example. Again, I'm telling all your viewers,
mm-hmm.
if you come here expecting a good life,
mm-hmm.
just expect the opposite. And that way you're prepared for what may happen to you. Everything might go well for you. You might get a job. You might get a green card, get citizenship. It all may happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but don't come here expecting the police to be nice to you or to crime or gangs not to target you, because this young man here, he's dead for simply doing some painting outside. He was murdered on the spot. Yep.
Well, I have an example of what happens when there is what seems to be, an actual revolution. Like here's the letter from the government of Niger expelling the French ambassador.
All right, that's great.
If I can find it again here.
I love it.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like
I just love this stuff. You can't make this up.
With the government, like icon, like at the top and everything, like Secretariat General. It's in French, of course, because that's the colonial language. Okay, so the Minister of the Foreign Affairs and of Cooperation of the Republic of Niger present their compliments to the Minister of Europe and Foreign Affairs of the Republic of France, and the honor of informing that in reaction to the note number so-and-so of August the 8th, addressed the former ambassador of Niger by the Minister of Europe and the Affairs, Strange Affairs, and the refusal of the ambassador of France in the city to respond to the invitation by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the government of Niger and other sort of matters. And contrary to the interests of Niger, the competent authorities Nigerian have decided to withdraw their agreement to allow this ambassador, Mr. Sylvain Iti, and to ask him to leave the territory of Niger in 48 hours. Okay, that's what, like you call a change. That's a change, and it demonstrates that change is possible at the very least. And we wish the best, I think, for the continuation of the revolution there and the elaboration of the revolution to include the civil society and all the people. And
right, very important.
Of the change that's happening in Gabon as well now.
Well, the Gabon is just like, it's even more egregious there because you have one family who's ruled the country for like 70 years, and they're all compradors with the French. I mean, this is like, this is going back like to the baby Doc and Papa Doc. The French. There you go again. Their method of this family rule after the so-called independence is granted or fought for and won.
Yeah.
And Gabon, I mean, it just seems to me like this. See, we gotta get over this elections nonsense. What are elections? Well, elections can always be rigged, and so what? There's elections. That doesn't mean that it's ruled by the people. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. I mean, elections are a part of the bourgeois democracy of a capitalist system, and they can be rigged or they can be influenced in such a way. For example, United States, a third party cannot win in the United States unless it's a really mass movement. I mean, you gotta have hundreds of millions of people have a third party win because the rules are set such that you can't even qualify on the election. So this family has been ruling Gabon for decades.
53 years, I think. Yeah.
And they, it's about time they got the hell up out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. It's just time to go.
Yeah, the way elections are set up there,
you got to go.
Elections are just a race of the big bucks.
It's just time to go.
Yeah.
It's time. I'm sorry. It's just time to go.
Yeah.
Your time is up. You've been ripping people off, stealing, lying, pillaging the population, giving the money to French. We know they've been giving the money to French. We know this. You ain't have to have any evidence. That's how they rule.
Yeah.
And now everybody's all, oh no, we're upset about this. No, be happy. Be happy. At least this one, this is over. Sorry, I should have cut you off. It's like it's too much, you know?
Yeah, incredible. Wow, it's quite a wave happening. You know, this is catching on. You know, and the
yes.
ECOWAS, you know, it's not able to stop it.
It's catching on. That's good. It's catching on.
Yeah.
It's catching on like a cold, like a virus. It's just spreading, you know.
You can imagine,
whatever,
you know,
man.
like the military of those ECOWAS countries that are Nigeria, like threatening, you know, Niger.
Oh,
the military, you know, what are they thinking right now? They're thinking, you know, like, whoa, wait a second, we're not getting in a war, you know, like with 4 other countries. First of all, Nigeria is bigger than Nigeria, you know, like to begin with.
It sure is.
And so, you know, like,
That's
so
a
they're
very
thinking,
good
you know,
point.
like, you know, like, do we want to get involved in another war, you know, like for the countries? Maybe not, you know, like, and if, you know, this government is trying to force us to do so, you know, like maybe we should get rid of this government, you know, like, let's do the
You know, you hit a very good point there. And at this point, if I were a civilian government, I'd be kind of concerned. You know, wait a minute, this contagion may spread to my country.
Yeah.
The government could take me out and no problems.
Yeah.
I ain't got no help here.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Yeah, you're right. If I were a Nigerian military, I would say, why should we get involved in this?
Yeah.
Look over here.
Yeah.
Look over here. What's up with that? Why are we involved in this stuff here? Because as I understand it, there's no real support for an ECOWAS invasion within Nigeria. There's no real support for it. This is only being done by the government.
Yeah.
So this could possibly lead to the overturning of that government by mass demonstrations. It could.
Yeah.
It could.
Yeah, we should look forward to mass demonstrations beginning now. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually, if anybody here has to get this video to Nigeria, get to Nigeria right away. Because we need to help. we need to support any insurrections or rebellions by the people against the ECOWAS governments and against any kind of infiltration and attacks against Niger. There should be no attacks by the Nigerian government. If you're a Nigerian soldier, don't fight. If you're a Nigerian intellectual, spread the word. If you're a worker, if you're from Nigeria, organize demonstrations. You need to do this. You need to do this, because if we do this and you can stop this invasion, you'll make a great historical move to bring peace to Africa. Your government wants war to support the United States and France, and you know that war does not serve your interests.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, like, you know, like Africans being, you know, turned into mercenaries to fight against other Africans.
Yes,
you know, like just
no good.
like a line that should not be crossed. You know, like no
it
way.
Should not, exactly.
Tolerated, you know, that's like, you know,
talk,
back when
we can have negotiations. We can have meetings. We can do anything you want. Do not go to war against another African country because your government says do it. No, don't do it.
Yeah.
You're only serving France, United States, Great Britain, Germany. They want to destabilize those countries so they can control those resources.
Yeah.
We need to say no. Right. Thank you, Dr. Weizfeld. Thank you.
That's exactly what was done, you know, during the slavery. You know, like one nation, one African nation, you know, was paid, you know, to go and enslave another African nation, and then sell them off, you know, to the Europeans to go to North America and South America. You know, that was, you know, like how you know, Africa was sliced up and eaten, you know, by imperialism and colonialism at that time. You know, it's just not permissible. This is not, you know, something that can be tolerated. You know, and I think the military of all those countries, you know, of ECOWAS, you know, should be expected, you know, to recognize that. If not, then they would be war criminals, you know, and they cannot accept, you know, being turned into mercenaries, you know, for Western imperialism in that manner. You know, like.
Very well said. Very well said, Dr.
You know,
Weiss.
like
That's exactly
showing
right.
Examples, showing the way forward. You know, they're showing how it can be done. You know, like, you know, the only question is, you know, like, you know, one commentator I saw, you know, like was asking, you know, if the military leaders, you know, who have done, you know, a very, you know, peaceful transition, actually, if they're capable of running the country, and if they know what to do economically, and if they know what to do in terms of political theory, that's the question. Who are these people? We don't know much about them. And what's going to be
very
happening.
true, very true,
So
very true.
to.
And I think that's a legitimate question that can be asked. It's not being asked to undermine; it's asking for clarification. That's all.
Yeah. But I think they've made one step forward, which is decent. They've agreed to a 3-year timetable to hold general elections in the coming period. So they're not declaring themselves to be with unlimited power. They've put limitations on themselves already. So that's a good indication. Now let's see what they come up as an economic program, because they're going to be under sanctions. So what are they going to do?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
what should happen is, if BRICS is about anything, they should be giving some aid and some financial support to these governments. If BRICS is really about something, and they have a new development bank, how about giving them a non-interest loan for how many billions of dollars for 30 years? But I'm just saying, right now, that BRICS thing need to show they mean business for people who are under sanction, like Zimbabwe, Niger, other African countries who are under sanctions. Just for being African countries, they're under sanctions.
Yeah,
that's why they're under sanctions. Because they're in Africa, and they're saying no, we don't want the UK or the French to dominate us. So they put them under sanction. And just so everybody knows, Dr. Weizfeld, there is no law for sanctions. No, there isn't. There is no sanctions book. Like, if you do sanctions, you must do this. I checked. Anybody can put anybody under sanctions they want and do whatever they want to them. Like Nigeria cutting the electricity to Niger. What a crime. What a sick crime, cutting off electricity to a country. That's a really low blow. Hospitals, research labs, food, you can't refrigerate your food.
Pumps, water pumps, like
thank you. Water pumps.
Everything is shut down. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I mean, for that reason alone, people in Nigeria, take the right stand against your government. Demand that they end the sanctions. Nigerian people must rise up and demand end the sanctions against your brothers in Niger. They've done nothing to you. They've done nothing to Nigeria. Why would Nigeria cut off the water? The electricity. Why? There's no reason for this. They're declaring war on Niger. Nigerians have to rise up and make demands. Civil society, labor, youth, the elderly, the retired, the military people, stand up, demand the end of these sanctions. Because you wouldn't want that done to you. No, you would not.
Yeah. Okay. So, looking forward to our next talk next.
I think so.
Next week, and there's so much that's happening, that we need to be talking, every week like this. It's incredible.
I think so. Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I'm enjoying this. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Weiss. I appreciate talking to you.
Yeah.
And next week, let's catch up with your case.
Yeah, we'll see what's happening with that. But I'm still resolved, to continue in the way that I said before.
There you go. Okay.
To come to a conclusion. This is a juridical battle that we're fighting with the Zionist lobby here, and that's the sense, like free Palestine. And that's all I wrote. End of free Palestine. Well, okay.
That's all you wrote. Exactly.
Yeah.
Next week. Take care. Thank you.